Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. I recently moved and I just got done setting up my office. It's like a 10-foot by 11-foot room. It is not very big at all, so I realized this is going to have to be an extremely functional office. And today I want to show you why this normal looking office is now one of the most functional and minimal home studios ever, where I can walk in, press basically one button and be fully recording in under 2 minutes. And the way it works is honestly kind of ridiculous. Today we'll go over the physical, practical items that streamline my workflow in the setup, and then we'll be diving into the software to see how I can go from an idea that sparks in my head to a fully recorded video with separated audio sources, camera source recording, and even automatic green screen without the hassle of setting up a studio and preparing an edit. You will definitely want to see how that's done because that has streamlined my workflow from an editing perspective a ton. So before we get into how the whole system actually works, let me give you a quick overview of the office itself and the hardware that makes up the setup. This isn't going to be one of those videos where I show you $1,000 pencil holders. This is basically going to be what I have found over the years that is the best bang for my buck and overall worth the money that I paid for it. Starting with the desk, it is just a simple standing desk from Amazon paired with a basic office chair also from Amazon. My mouse is the Pulsar X Lite. I think it's the V3 and it's also the ES. Their naming convention is just crazy. My keyboard is the Corsair K55. For my displays, I have an Optics AG332C. I love this monitor. I've had it for years. My side monitor is basically a basic Acer, I think it's a 27-inch monitor. I got it for free. It works fine, but that's probably one of the pieces for the setup that I will upgrade in the future. For mounting the camera and the light, I'm using a US Keyvision desk mount, which keeps both the light and the camera up, and it also attaches directly to the desk, so when I move the standing desk up or down, the camera and lighting move with it. Now for recording these videos and any video I do on YouTube, I use the Elgato prompter, which lets me keep notes and scripts directly in front of the camera, so that's what I'm reading right now. At some point, I'm thinking about actually upgrading this to the Prompter XL. I absolutely love what Elgato has done with the prompter, so I would be excited probably to maybe replace the side monitor here with a Prompter XL, but for right now, this works really, really well. Powering the whole thing is my editing computer, which is a pre-built system from a small local company. They decided to give me, I think, the biggest tower that they had in the warehouse. Inside of it, I have an Intel i9-9900, an RTX 2080 Ti, and 96 gigabytes of RAM. There's 1 terabyte of SSD storage, and then plus I think there's 2 additional terabytes of hard drive storage. It's not the newest system anymore, specifically with that graphics card, but it still handles the editing and recording perfectly fine. For my audio monitoring, these are the SteelSeries Artis Nova Pro wireless headset, which has a base station that holds an extra battery, so when one dies, I just swap it out and keep going, which is honestly great for long work sessions, working from home, or playing video games. Then the control center for the desk is the Elgato Stream Deck Plus, which I've paired with the XLR dock on the back. So that lets me plug in my microphone directly into it. And right now the mic I've been using is the Fifine Tank 1. So the foundation of this build came from wanting a clean desktop. I've had the Go XLR for years now. I finally made the switch to the Stream Deck Plus. I wanted everything, like I said, to be off the desk. So I looked around and I found a 3D printed attachment that essentially attaches to the bottom of the desk. And the great thing about this guy is that when I'm not using it, I can push it in. And when I want to use it, I can pull it out. It can also swivel. So there have been a couple times where I've whacked my leg against this, but most of the time it stays here. I've basically at this point have my little digital mixer memorized now for what is what. Same thing with this 3D print that holds the SteelSeries headphones, and it also holds the transmitter for the headphones. Both of these 3D prints I found on Amazon. The thing that I love about this guy is that you can actually pop the battery out on the side here. That way, whenever the headset needs to recharge or you need to flip out the battery, the battery is just right there, easy to pull out and then replace. So that's the physical side of the office, but the real magic of this setup isn't the hardware, it's actually how everything works together so that I can walk into the room and I can press one button, start recording almost instantly. The real goal of this room wasn't to look good. The goal was to remove every possible roadblock between having an idea, and hitting record. And the way I accomplish this is by combining a few smart hardware decisions with some pretty streamlined software setup. My main camera is the Canon R6, and instead of recording internally and dealing with memory cards and file transfers, I run the camera's mini HDMI output directly into a Camlink capture card, which goes straight into the computer. So from the computer's perspective, the camera just appears as a live input source. This means whenever I hit record in OBS, I'm recording my camera directly into the computer, no copying footage, no syncing audio later, no pulling SD cards, no accidentally losing footage in SD cards. Everything just goes directly into the edit. The lighting setup was something I really struggled with a lot in my last studio because I couldn't control the environment. So in this room, I built the lighting setup around two things. First, the Elgato Keylight Neo mounted directly to the desk. So if I raise or lower it, the lighting angle never changes. And because it's integrated into my setup, I can just hit a button to turn the light on and off. Then for the background lighting, I'm using the Govee corner lights. These are the tall light bars that sit in a corner of a room and shine upward along the wall. So instead of pointing directly into the room, they bounce light off, kind of dispersing it, which gives the room a nice, almost ambient glow. So I have 3 of them placed around the office, and they're all programmed with preset colors to match the studio look that I'm going for. The best part is that they're tied into my smart home setup. So all I have to do is tell Google to turn on the studio lights, and all 3 lights come on instantly with the correct colors. Hey Google, turn on the lights.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
And speaking of lighting, one of the things that I really did not like a whole lot about my last home office is that I had no control over the lighting because I didn't have any blackout curtains. And that's where today's sponsor comes in. This video is sponsored by Guard Blinds, who sent over a full set of their Guard 2 blackout blinds for this office setup. Now, technically, they're not paying me to say any of this, but they did send about $600 worth of blinds for me to install, test, and keep. So in my opinion, this absolutely counts as sponsoring the video, and honestly, these solved a huge problem for this studio. Before installing these, the natural light coming through these windows made it really difficult to maintain consistent lighting while filming in the day. Now, depending on the time of day, the room would look completely different. So with these installed, I can completely control the lighting in the room, which is huge when you're trying to film content. One of the things that I really liked about these is that they're custom made to fit your exact window measurements. Once they're installed, they look really clean and built in. Guard says that it takes anywhere around 10 minutes, and that was pretty accurate in my experience. It was really easy actually setting up the frame, and the blinds already come basically almost the actual mechanism comes pre-assembled. The part that took me the longest was getting the weather stripping on correctly. So that's a little bit of user error in my case, but overall the setup was much quicker than I expected. There are no screws required, which I loved. You basically assemble the frame, place it inside the window, and it pressure fits into position. And once it's in, it feels very solid. The blinds themselves are also true blackout blinds. So when they're closed, they block out pretty much all outside light. This is my wife's first reaction to seeing what the room looked like with them closed.
These are the blinds.
Oh my goodness.
Is that wild or what?
For a studio like this, that's incredibly helpful because it lets me keep my lighting completely consistent while recording. You can also customize things like the direction which the blinds open, which is a nice detail depending on how your room is laid out. Like I customize mine for the 2 in the center to close inward. Now, the only small thing that I ran into, and this is not a mistake on their part, is the weather stripping. I ordered white blinds, but the light blocking brush strip that helps seal the edges is black. So if you are someone who really wants everything to blend perfectly and be the same color, I would probably recommend ordering the black version of the blinds since the strip will match better. But other than that though, they've been great and they have made controlling the lighting in this room way easier. So if you are interested in checking them out, I'll have a link in the description. And if you use that link, you'll get 10% off your order. All right, let's move on into the computer and get into the software. For audio, like I said, I'm using the Elgato Wavelink, and inside of the Wavelink, I separate my audio into different categories. So as you can see, I have individual channels for my microphone on the left, then my music, which also includes my Chrome, then my voice chat, which is Discord, and then the system settings, which is any system sounds, or if a program opens and the computer doesn't know where to put it, like inside of music or voice chat, they will put it inside of the system tab. Now this gives me complete control over where each type of audio goes. Now right now I am using the Wavelink 2.0, which only allows for 2 different outputs, the monitor mix and the stream mix. The monitor mix is what I hear in my headphones, and the stream mix is what gets sent to things like Discord, OBS, or any software that needs a microphone input. Now this is a little bit different than what other people do, but currently what I do is I set every application that needs my microphone to use the stream mix, which normally your stream mix is only for your stream. Currently, the only thing I send to my stream mix is my microphone. Nothing else. Not music, not Discord, and no system sounds. That way my mic stays completely clean. But if I ever want to play something for people that I'm talking to, like a YouTube video, I can temporarily raise that channel in the stream mix and it will go through my mic feed. This is not a problem anymore inside of the Wavelink 3.0 software, which I haven't set that up yet. I am looking forward to setting it up because that 2 outputs is increased to like 5 outputs, meaning that I can have my microphone by itself, and then I can have my stream mix by itself, my normal monitor mix by itself, and then maybe add 2 more mixes for VODs or clips or whatever else I'm needing. Another thing that speeds up my editing workflow is that I process my microphone before recording. So right now, as you can see inside of Wavelink, I run Elgato EQ and Elgato noise removal. I will click on these, that way you guys can see my current setup for them. This is my mix for my microphone for the EQ. And then also here is the noise removal. Honestly, this one, you just turn it on. Here's the threshold percentage and the release. I believe these are the defaults. But as you can see, I only apply those effects to my stream. I do not apply those to my monitor mix. Now I do this because if you're using the older version of the Elgato Wavelink or the attachment that goes on the back of the Stream Deck Plus, you'll notice that there will be increased latency if you are monitoring your microphone in your headphones. Now, this is not a problem for the new versions of the Wavelink and the Stream Deck attachment that goes on the Stream Deck Plus. They actually process all of these things on board the device itself. So that actually gets fixed whenever you upgrade your hardware and you upgrade the software. But that doesn't stop it from currently having it go to the stream mix, which allows for Discord and OBS to basically hear the processed version of my voice. This means that when I bring the recording into Premiere Pro later, my microphone audio is already mixed and ready to go. Now this next part saves me a ridiculous amount of time in editing, and I'm surprised that more people don't think about this or do this. So inside of my OBS, I actually double my canvas size. And to show you, normally a canvas is 1920 by 1080, right? Mine is 3840 by 1080, which allows me to have 2 full HD spaces side by side. One side I record my screen capture, and the other side I record my R6 camera feed. This means that both my screen and my camera are recorded in a single video file, perfectly synced to already mixed audio. So when I import that file into Premiere Pro, everything is already aligned. No importing separate files, no matching audio, it's already done. And then diving even further, I can right click on my camera here and click on filters, and you'll see that I have a LUT applied here. If I didn't have this LUT applied, this is how my camera would look. But what I've done already, I've recorded myself normally, and then I will take this into Premiere Pro. I edit my LUT how I want it to look, and then I export that LUT, import it back into OBS, and now already on my camera is how I want my camera to look. If you want to learn how to make your own LUTs, I'll link a video that walks you through that. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned something that sounded maybe a little clickbaity, the auto green screen. Here is what I meant by that. OBS has a way to automatically remove your background. So if you have an NVIDIA GTX or RTX graphics card, you can use the NVIDIA background removal filter. And the trick here is just to apply this to a group and not the camera itself. So I have that set up as well here. You can see I have my camera right here. This is basically an imported source. If I add a source and then I go to video capture device, this is what I can bring in. Then if you look at this group right here, you'll see that I also have the same camera brought in and imported, but inside of this group. And so if I turn this on, you'll see that now I am green screened onto the screen. Now, of course, this doesn't, or right here, this doesn't work really with my microphone arm, but you can see the quality of the automatic background remover. It's almost flawless, minus, the extra stuff down below me. So if you were to adjust your camera angle, or adjust your mic boom arm to maybe come out from in front of you or sit on the desk in front of you. You could get around this. The reason why that you have to group it and attach this filter onto the effects of the actual group is because if you were to try to attach it onto the filters for the camera itself, then you would lose the opportunity and the ability to record your camera like this with your background, fully fledged, basically your raw camera essentially. So turning this off, if you really think about it, and if you want to get really advanced with it, you can expand the canvas even further. So right now, like I said, mine is 3840 by 1080. If you were to add another 1920 to this, you could have 1920 would be your screen, 1920 would be your camera, and then 1920 would be your green screen camera. And essentially what you do is just add a green solid behind your NVIDIA background removed camera, and then you are recording your screen, your camera, and the ability to green screen your camera all in the same file, which gives you multiple camera options without managing multiple recordings. So all of this comes together inside of Premiere Pro. Because my camera, my screen, and my audio are already synced and pre-processed, editing becomes incredibly simple. I just drop the footage into my project and it's ready to go. And I use a multicam workflow to cut between the camera views. This process is a little deeper though, so I'm going to make a totally separate video about this editing workflow, importing everything into Premiere Pro and how I have it set up. But the short version is this. The entire goal of this setup was to remove every step between idea and execution. I can now walk into this room, tell Google to turn on my lights, hit one button to turn on my key light, sit down, and be recording in less than 2 minutes. And honestly, that alone has made me create way more content. So if you're interested in the more advanced part of this setup, like the full OBS configuration or my Premiere Pro multicam workflow, make sure that you're subscribed because those videos are coming very soon. I'll see you guys in the next video.